Welcome back, everybody. Let's get to your news headlines this morning. Will a man be back in court at a different court, in circuit court, who's accused of shooting his coworker and putting a hospital on high alert? A judge will have to answer that today. Robert Poljasevic was arrested back in March for that shooting at Corewell Health Troy Beaumont in the parking garage of the hospital. Police said he was close with the victim, even saying they were best friends before a falling out. And today is a critical hearing in that case. Today, 21-year-old Robert Poljasevic will be back in front of a judge accused of shooting a coworker at Corewell Health Troy Hospital, putting the hospital into a lockdown for hours. The victim was shot twice and is making a full recovery.
Did you hear anything?
No, I understand.
Okay, thank you.
The response was understandably overwhelming. Officers from dozens of departments looking for what they thought was an active shooter.
Hi, this is security for Troy Beaumont. We need officers out here. We currently have an active shooter in the parking structure.
It turned out that fight in the parking structure was isolated, allegedly, between Poljasevic and the victim, both employees at the hospital.
The 25-year-old victim from Troy pulled into the parking garage, followed shortly by the suspect. The suspect fired at least 5 shots from a handgun, striking the victim in the arm.
Poljasevic was found in Macomb Township when the Macomb County SWAT team was waiting, and he surrendered. Today is a preliminary exam, kind of like a mini trial with witnesses and evidence, so the judge can determine if the case against Poljasevic is strong enough to move forward to circuit court. Now, the hearing gets underway in about 18 minutes, or is scheduled for 9 o'clock this morning. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for all parties to arrive, but when that case does start, we're going to dip into it and show you live and see what's happening in court right here live on Local 4 Live. We could also learn more about the fate of radioactive waste from World War II trying to come into Van Buren Township today. Wayne Disposal is one of the biggest hazardous waste landfills in the country. For months, we have heard from people living nearby trying to keep the radioactive waste out. Last year, an injunction passed the shipment of the waste. There was another hearing scheduled for today at noon. We'll see what happens in that hearing. A live look now at the mighty Mac. The fight over the Line 5 pipeline in the Straits of Mackinac is going to the U.S. Supreme Court, where we expect a decision to keep a lawsuit in state court or not, moving it to federal court. Attorney General Dana Nessel wants to cancel the permit, allowing part of the pipeline to run, pointing to environmental concerns. Enbridge tried to move the case to federal court, but it went back to state court. Local 4 investigator Karen Drew will join us in less than an hour to talk about her reporting on the case and what she thinks might happen as this case moves to the country's high courts. Let's take a live look outside over in Southfield this morning. Ashley will be back here in the Nook after the break, taking a look at temperatures, your 4th of July forecast, and some more rain on the way. But the good news, it's not for the holiday itself. Well, welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. This morning we are heading to Royal Oak. Take a look at this My Pick video sent in from Bob T. The caption is simply, "The garden is looking and you can see a bird enjoying the bird feeder in Bob's garden." Look at that one. You can always submit your My Picks over at clickondetroit.com.
Bird? It almost looked like a hummingbird. With
Maybe,
yeah.
right? Just hanging out there.
Yeah.
Beautiful day to hang out in the bird feeder.
That is right. That is right. I mean, it's going to be enjoyable for the humans and the birds alike for today. But yeah, I mean, we don't have rain in the forecast for today. We're looking at some sunshine, and so maybe you could do some bird watching.
Okay. Or bird bathing. Find a pond to go jump into.
Hey,
Whatever that
means.
yeah,
like I don't even know where to go with that one, but I mean, yeah, you might have the little kiddie pool, and we could do our own kind of version of it. Yeah.
I like it.
What I like about this is that we're staying warm, and so we're pushing out the humidity, but we're still warm enough to hit the pool, to hit the lake. So it's just enjoyable, no matter whether it's going to be the activities where you're getting splashed and wet, or the drier activities where maybe you're at the basketball hoop or whatever it might be.
Sounds like ice cream weather.
100%. Yes, ice cream weather it is. All right, you got the go. You got the green light from Nick on that. So get outside today. That's what the forecast is. Get outside, even if it's just for 5 minutes. It's sunny, it's seasonal, and it's going to stay that way for at least a few days as we only inch about a degree or two upward each day. Storm chances, though, tomorrow, and you're like, wait, you just said it was sunny, into the thumb. So north of I-69, we do have a marginal risk of a stronger storm developing, but they're very isolated. Now, warming into the weekend. So if you like the 80s, just note 90s are on the horizon, but maybe you like the really toasty temperatures. But when you get that hot and that humid, just note that it likely will come with some storm chances. Now, as we check around the U.S. for airport delays, it looks like we have one that just popped up in that northern tier of Texas. And so I'm not sure if that's going to be weather related or not, as there is a little bit of wet weather down towards Texas. But just showing you this because each and every day we're going to see more and more travel leading up to the 4th of July holiday. A lot of folks traveling by car, and so at least we have dry conditions on the roads around lower Michigan. But as you look at Metro Airport, blue skies. And so if you're catching a flight out of Metro, hopefully you're going somewhere nice. But I'm telling you, it's going to be nice here. Staycation across Michigan. 74 degrees over at Metro, 71 in Pontiac, and 73 in Grosse Ile and Port Huron. So your hourly planner for today: seasonal sunshine, 85 for the afternoon high, but high UV index. So make sure you're putting that sunscreen on. That's my mom voice talking. 15 to 25 minutes, you can see a sunburn. But forecast tonight, I love this. 64, mostly clear, less humid. Open the windows and get some fresh air. Give the air conditioning a break. Save yourself a couple bucks. So as we look at tomorrow, we do have that marginal level 1 risk into the thumb. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm just not impressed with all the model data coming in with this one, but we'll have to see how it pans out. We'll have clear skies throughout a chunk of the day, and then you start to see a couple little storms firing off, and even that's not pushing it completely into the thumb. So we'll have to, wait and see with some new runs coming in, but nonetheless, just warning you, there could be a passing shower storm late Wednesday in the thumb. Otherwise here, a few clouds, 86, lots of sunshine on Thursday, 87, and your 4th of July forecast, plenty of sunshine and 88. And so for the local parades and the fireworks, all of that should be staying dry. Checking the up north forecast real quickly, because here close to home, we're cranking up the heat right around 90 both Saturday and Sunday. Oh, I didn't want to skip upward. Well, I'm going to tell you, Saturday and Sunday, we do have some shower and storm chances up farther north, but we'll stay on the warm side. And hey, at least we're looking at a nice stretch here close to home. So hooray for those of us that are going to be here locally.
Okay, go-to ice cream?
Ooh, so I really like Guernsey.
Oh.
Which is a local,
Okay.
yeah. And then Brown Dog, which is in downtown Northville, because they have what I call mommy milkshakes, where like the kids aren't allowed to drink those milkshakes.
Listen to me. listen now. I just got back from vacation.
Yes.
Took the daughter in a national dance championship, which they won a title, by the way. And we found it was called the Buzzed Bull Creamery.
Okay.
Same concept.
Yes.
Right? You can get a little something infused into your milkshake or ice cream.
Love it.
Whoa.
Now here close to home, what would be your go-to?
Honestly, probably just the place around the corner, Scoops.
Okay.
To my place, because it's just easy.
Now is that like soft serve or hard?
It's a little whatever you want.
Okay.
They do both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about the convenience.
Yeah, I love all the
getting
local
there.
spots.
I
Like
do
I just
too.
named a couple
I know,
local ones,
yeah.
but growing up it was Dairy Dan in Westland.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you could go through a drive-through, but it was like the local spot.
Yeah. Okay, now flavors. Are you more of like a chocolate or more of like a fruity kind of thing?
I'm more of like a caramel.
Oh.
Yeah, salty sailor at Brown Dog They call it a barler.
It's Ashley's go-to.
Come join us sometime.
Send her a few gallons.
Everyone's like, okay, now I know where to go on a Friday and Saturday night.
All right. Ashley, thank you much. Let's go to downtown Detroit to get a live look over LCA, or what do I like to call it? The Slice. We're talking the WNBA heading back to Detroit. They're going to be playing right there at Little Caesars Arena. The excitement's already buzzing here in the city years before they actually hit the court. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. It has been 17 years, believe it or not, since the Detroit Shock won an NBA title in 2008. The next season was their last. Years later, the Motor City is finally welcoming the league back. Detroit joining Cleveland and Philadelphia to bring the league, the WNBA, up to 18 teams. This is an all-time high. The league has been smashing records in attendance, merch sales, TV ratings. Cleveland is getting the first team in 2028, Detroit and Philly following in 29, and then 2030. With the news of Detroit landing a WNBA team again, we wanted to bring you a conversation we had recently with the former president of the WNBA. Our Karen Drew chatted with Donna Orander when she made a stop here in Detroit. Here's what she had to say about the WNBA returning to Detroit and the importance of women's sports.
Talk to me about why you think it's so important to bring back the WNBA to...
Well, the WNBA had a really incredible, successful run in Detroit. I mean, I remember being at the Palace. It was packed, 18, 19, there was a huge arena, right? And they won championships, 2006, 2008, people showed up. Detroit is a basketball-loving city. It was really sad when it went away. Right. Really sad.
So talk to me about the business side of it.
I think it will be incredibly successful here. I mean, basketball was made, especially women's basketball was made for Detroit. It sounds like you have incredible leadership here from all sectors. You know, the best thing you can always do is, sell out. Sell out, right? Yeah. Pre-sell 10,000 season tickets. Yeah.
Well, Donna Orander can fill you in on her past as an athlete, the former president of the WNBA.
Everybody comes to an experience for the first time.
She loves spending her energy and her time talking about her future and the future of other female athletes.
And all the data is showing that fans, 75% of sports fans today, male and female, are interested in the new leagues that are coming up. That really was an impetus for us to create the Upshot League.
Upshot, the professional women's developmental basketball league, is set to start in 4 cities: Jacksonville, Savannah, Greensboro, and Charlotte.
Well, we just launched. I mean, we have 4 teams. It will be in a year when we take the court. Investment has been actually encouraging, right? The market's telling us this is what we want. Let's up everyone's shot. Let's give them a place to play because we want to invest in college basketball. We want to invest in high school basketball. We want to let every young athlete know we see them and we support them.
What would be your advice to mothers who are raising girls right now?
I think all of us still need to be conscious and aware of what's been poured into us, the language, a lot of the bias, a lot of the expectations, that we take on, that we pass along, and we don't even know it unconsciously. Like, I think we guard our girls more carefully. We want to set them off. We want to say, fly into your courage, right? It's okay to make mistakes. We've got to let our girls know that we see them, we hear them, we support them.
Well, that is a great conversation. You can watch the entire conversation Carrie had with Donna here on Local 4 Plus and on clickondetroit.com. Well, the WNBA expansion is one of the things we're going to be talking about in our next hour when the president of the Detroit Sports Commission joins us, what this means for the city, how the commission is working to bring big events to Detroit. We're going to talk about all of it. Plus, Local 4 investigator Karen Drew joins us with that big update in the Line 5 pipeline controversy, what the U.S. Supreme Court will decide about the oil pipe in the Straits of Mackinac. And then celebrating 100 years of the Detroit Red Wings wheel. What's your favorite memory of the team? We're talking everything about the organization and what they have planned to mark this milestone. More news, more weather, more conversations in our next hour. Stay with us here on Local 4 Live.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back here to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli, and thank you for streaming along with us here on Local 4 Plus. Click on Detroit.com and, of course, on YouTube. We are working on some very big stories in our next hour. The WNBA, as you heard yesterday, coming back to Detroit. So what does that mean for the city, and how do we keep this momentum going so we can land even bigger events? We're talking with the head of the Detroit Sports Commission. You're also looking live at the Mackinac Bridge, where a controversy is in the water, heading to the U.S. Supreme Court. Local 4 investigator Karen Drew is going to talk about why the Line 5 pipeline case will go before the nation's highest court. Then, the Red Wings celebrating a huge birthday, 100 years. How the team is marking the centennial anniversary, and a look back at some of our favorite memories, including a big Stanley Cup championship. So we wanted to have some fun with that one this morning and give you a chance to answer some Red Wings trivia. How many Red Wings players are in the Hall of Fame? You can see the choices there at the bottom of your screen. The majority of you, 50%, think there are 58 in the Hall of Fame. We'll let you know the answer here during a live interview about some special celebrations coming up. A live look now at the Senate floor in Washington, D.C. right now as lawmakers are still in the middle of their vote-a-rama. That means senators can offer unlimited amendments on bills, and they have to vote on them all. This is all centered around President Trump's budget bill. Democrats are doing everything they can to delay the vote. Right now, the GOP has a razor-thin margin of error. They only have 3 votes to spare. Right now, they may not have the votes needed to pass by the self-imposed July 4th deadline. Many GOP lawmakers are on the fence about the bill, saying it could hurt the states they represent. If the bill does pass, it does then go back to the House, where it also faces an uncertain fate. At any moment now, the man accused of shooting a coworker and putting Cornwall Health Beaumont Troy Hospital on lockdown will be going before a judge. Investigators say Robert Poljusevic opened fire in the hospital's parking garage back in March. It prompted an active shooter situation at the hospital. Police say Poljusevic and the victim were friends who worked in the radiology department together but had a recent falling out. The victim has been treated, is going to be okay. A preliminary hearing exam, I should say, in the case is getting started, scheduled at 9 a.m., but everything in court always runs a little behind. We'll take you live inside the courtroom when that hearing does get going. Detroit police still on the lookout for a gunman after a 4-year-old and 18-year-old were killed in a drive-by shooting at a park. This happened over at Skinner Park on the east side Friday night. We talked to the woman who helped design the park in 2013. She says it's meant to be a place for kids to feel safe and at peace.
I cried because I knew that the whole idea of this park was to create a safe space.
If you have any information about the shooting, please call DPD or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP. You will remain anonymous. We also have information about free programs to help keep kids safe. You can find that over at clickondetroit.com. And we will be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody. A live look at New York City right now. We are officially in the final stretch as jury deliberations are underway in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. We're coming off the heels of yesterday's rocky start to those deliberations. NBC reports shortly after the jury got the case, they sent a note to the judge expressing concern that one of the jurors was not following the judge's instructions. After consulting with both the prosecution and defense, the judge agreed to send a response back to the jury, reminding the jurors of their duty to deliberate on a verdict. We'll be following this case all day, but as of now, there's no timeline on when a verdict could be reached. Telecommunications and tech giant AT&T found itself in the crosshairs of President Trump this week. Trump criticized the company in back-to-back Truth Social posts, telling the carrier to, quote, get its act together. Trump blames AT&T for technical issues he says came up during a conference call with faith leaders and that he may use a different carrier in the future. AT&T responded, saying it reached out to the White House to understand and assess that situation. Lululemon is suing Costco, claiming the discount wholesaler is selling knockoffs of its $128 pants and other pricey athleisure clothing, along with misleading customers to believe that the dupes are manufactured by the authentic supplier of the original products. One example in the lawsuit is that Lululemon sells a scuba hoodie for $118, while a Costco version sells for about $8. Lululemon is seeking unspecified monetary damages and demanding that Costco stop selling these products. Costco did not immediately respond to a media request for comment. A popular coffee chain in China that outsells Starbucks in that country has now landed in America. Luckin Coffee opened its first 2 locations in the U.S. yesterday, both in New York City. Despite its fledgling footprint here, it already has a loyal following among Gen Z drinkers due to a strong presence on TikTok and other social media platforms. Luckin was founded in 2017 and focuses on using takeout booths and cashless payments. But its big draw, its beverages are about 30% cheaper than the ones offered by Starbucks. Still ahead here on Local 4 Live, we're going to get a live look at Ann Arbor now. When we're back, we're talking about 2 major Michigan cities being ranked among the most educated in America. I wonder which one of them is on the list here. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. Getting a live look now in Ann Arbor. The city is hitting a pretty big milestone after being named the top most educated city in America. The rank comes from Wallet Hub rankings, the Ann Arbor area, home, of course, to some place called U of M. It's number 1. The East Lansing metropolitan area is 30th. The ranking says Ann Arbor came in first because nearly 96% of adults 25 and older have a high school diploma and 58% have a college degree. We put that in the rundown specifically because Ashley was going to be in the Nook when we said it. I saw her little raise the roof, right?
Go Blue. Yeah, I mean, I don't reside there right now, but did for 4 years. So, yeah, it's good.
A little Wolverine pride.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, that's exciting stuff. Always love when there's positive stuff about our local universities.
I wonder where MSU and East Lansing rank.
Hey, don't put me on the spot like that. I'm going to start getting email.
Oh, boy. Right. Be nice.
From my own
Ashley,
colleagues.
nice.
Ron and Jason will be the first one, and Darnell.
I know, right?
I'm surrounded by them. Oh, man. But overall, we are looking at a phenomenal forecast. So we have that. That's truly the bright side.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So here we are looking at Belleville, not all that far off from Ann Arbor, where we have very still lake and we have beautiful blue skies out there and just a gorgeous shot this morning. And so we're on the rise, slow, gradual. You're not going to see us, soar into the 90s today. In fact, it's a seasonal day. So we'll probably top out about 10 degrees warmer than where we are right now with that westerly wind. And then we'll hold on to mid 80s for the afternoon high. So very much on par with what our average high is. And we're pairing it with sunshine. And so we will have a high UV index if you're going to be working outside or taking in maybe one of our local lakes, a local pool. Just make sure you keep reapplying that sunscreen today. Because sometimes you don't think about it when it's not a scorcher, but it doesn't matter what the temperature is. It's the UV rays. So tonight, 64 degrees, mostly clear, less humid. Open up the windows. Do you like to sleep with the window open, Nick?
I need a real calm, cool breeze coming in.
Okay.
Other than that, not so much. I like it very, very cold.
Do you have a fan in the room?
On me, like on the nightstand, like blowing directly on me.
Okay. Do you have hot flashes too?
No, don't judge me, Michelle.
We're chuckling. So yeah, tonight 64. This would be a night you could open up the windows. Maybe not as cool as Nicholas would like it.
Yeah, right.
But overall, you definitely could give the AC a little bit of a break. It's been on overdrive. And so tomorrow there will be a marginal risk for strong to severe storms up into the thumb region. But even the models aren't overly impressive. So you see we push out that thick cloud cover from west to east today. We're already getting that sunshine building in. A few clouds mix in Wednesday. Overall, a good chunk of the day is dry, but we get a couple of these bubble up, pop up showers, and there's that marginal risk to our north. So I won't rule out a passing shower, but overall, we're just going to have a few clouds and 86. 87 for the afternoon high on Thursday. So you see we go up about 1 degree each day. Lots of sunshine Thursday. And then come Friday on the 4th, if you are staying close to home, maybe you have kiddos in a local parade, it's going to be warm, especially if it's an afternoon parade where we'll have highs right around 88. But it's a dry forecast, which is great for the convertibles going down the road and also those fireworks that'll be shot off later on into the evening hours. And so 4th of July forecast. Last year we hit 83, very average 4th of July last year. But then this year we're forecasting 88. So we'll be above average, but shy of that record high of 102. I don't think we're complaining about that. We hit that 102 in 2012. So you might remember it, given that wasn't that long ago. So let's talk about the weekend forecast. Hopefully we can get this thing to fly up north for you. Here close to home, we'll top out right around 90, if not just above it Saturday and Sunday, with a couple storm chances, especially late in the day Saturday and Sunday. And I'm talking like nighttime hours. Now up north, Alpena, you start right around 80. You could get close to 90 on Saturday, but there will be some shower and storm chances. That's the pattern all across lower Michigan, but mid 70s to right around 80 up into Mackinac. And then as we travel on over to Traverse City, plan for temperatures to be on either side of 90 for your 4th and Saturday, and falling to about 83 as that front will bring not just some cooler air, but the chance for some storms. So we fall to about 86 on Monday. And a good chance for that rain to linger into your Monday as well. But a nice seasonal stretch, which gives us a break from that heat wave that we were in, all that humidity. I will say, Nick, that we got the monthly outlook for July, given today's July 1st. You're just throwing things.
You startled me.
July 1st. So we're in a new month. And that's looking like we could trend above average, but average precipitation. That's put out by the Climate Prediction Center. So we'll see what ends up happening, but it might end up being a pretty toasty July.
So warmer than usual July.
Yes.
Normal rain.
Normal rain.
Okay.
I mean, Hey.
Normal's better than worse.
That's right. I mean, I wouldn't want it to be a soggy July, and then you turn the corner, you feel like you're going back to school,
Right?
and you didn't get to go outside and enjoy it.
All right. It's the humidity that gets me. That's where I'm always concerned.
and yesterday I mentioned we get into what we call corn sweat season. As the corn, gets to its full capacity, it gives out all that vapor and water, and that brings humidity. I know people think it sounds crazy, but it's true. I mean, we have cornfields, and that leads to some of the humidity.
Blame the corn.
Darn corn, but it tastes so good.
Ashley, thank you much. We'll be right back. Corn sweat. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. Get ready to celebrate 100 years of hockey and Hockeytown history in Detroit. Die-hard fans probably already have it on their calendars because they know the Red Wings were founded back in 1926 as you're looking live at LCA right now. Now, guess what? The team has won the Stanley Cup in 11 of those years, with the last one coming in 2008. More than 1,000 players have worn the Red Wings jersey, and 83 players, coaches, and executives have made it to the Hall of Fame, making the team one of the most celebrated in hockey, and they should be. I think we can all agree one of the most thrilling times to be in Detroit was when the Wings won the Cup in '97, ending a nearly 4-decade drought. Just for fun, let's relive that moment, shall we?
Red Wings trying to get the sweep. 3 seconds left. Into the zone. The Detroit Red Wings are the Stanley Cup champions.
It's my pleasure to present the Stanley Cup to Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman raises the chalice above his head. The flash bulbs all around the Joe Louis Arena.
You got it now, baby. The Stanley Cup for Detroit.
I remember everything about that day, running out in the streets like I was a crazy kid. I was a crazy kid. It was on Michelle's birthday. We should all celebrate. If you want to take a trip down memory lane, we highly recommend going to our WDIV YouTube page. We posted all of the locker room interviews that you can see right there. From that win, it is definitely worth your time. Right now, I'm joined by Chris Kaufman to celebrate 100 years of the Red Wings. He is the Chief Commercial Officer over at Illich Sports Entertainment. We saw a very young Illich there as he was hoisting that cup. This is a really big deal for the Wings, 100 years.
That video never gets old, does it?
Never. Where were you in that moment?
I like to say I wasn't born, but actually I was in Detroit. I've been a longtime fan, and you know, Steve looks the same today as he did then.
Hasn't changed
for sure.
a bit. And he has more teeth.
Yes, he does. He does. Exciting stuff.
All right, so 100 years, and we've got some props here in the Nook. This means that you guys are celebrating with some new merch, some gear, some new logos.
Yeah, this is Hockey Town, right?
Right.
And we get the honor to celebrate 100 amazing years of hockey here, and there's all kinds of things that we're planning on for this upcoming season. It's going to be so fun. We think we have some of the most amazing fans in the sport, and we're going to do our best to entertain them and do some really cool things.
So I know some of the things are surprises, but we could talk about some of the things. Like, you've got some big parties coming up. Like, what are the plans here?
Yeah, so we're going to kick off opening night in the second week of October. That's going to be a big celebration. We might have a few surprises for our fans. So that's
get there early.
Really fun. And then we've got a big celebration the weekend of November 6th. We're going to have a fan fest that fans are going to really enjoy that. They won't want to miss it. There's some other things that we're going to announce later on that are going to be really, really special moments for the team and our franchise. So it's going to be an ongoing thing that we'll celebrate throughout the entire course of the year, the different eras as we go through the season. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. As part of that celebration, there's actually a contest happening. You can choose the brand new Center Ice logo. We've got the options that we can show you right on the screen right now.
I have my favorite.
Do you?
I absolutely have my favorite.
So let's put it up there. The one on the right-hand side, once we can show you that, is actually featuring the Hockey Town logo right there. The left-hand side is the new logo, or new for now logo, celebrating the centennial. I don't know about you, Chris. I like the one on the left.
Are you kidding me? No, it's not the one on the left. It's the one on the right. We had over 20,000 fans jump in and vote in the first hour that we launched this thing, and it's really cool to see the two different options there. We actually looked at a lot of options, but these are the two we like the best, and our fans are all over this, and it's really going to be fun to find out which one wins. I'm not going to give it away in terms of which one's a leader in the clubhouse, but there will definitely be a clear winner, and it's going to be a blast.
Speaking of the winner, you can vote. There was a QR code there on the screen. All you have to do is scan that, go vote. You got to be a part of Hockey Town.
You got to be a part of Hockey Town.
Right. Let's talk about how incredible this is for the organization. I mean, we'd like to see more cups. We're going to work on that, right? But we are Hockey Town at this point.
Yeah, hey, and there's a lot of people that have gone into making that what it is.
Right.
Let's start. I think the Illich family deserve a lot of credit.
Of course they do.
I think we've had over 1,000 players be on the team and wear the jersey, the sweater over the last 100 years. There's a lot of coaches. I mean, and our fans have made this so special and so memorable. So it's going to be a great celebration to bring it all together, and I can't wait for the beginning of the season.
Now, do you think we might see some jersey changes, some special items out on the ice?
Yeah, we are definitely going to have a special centennial jersey for our fans to celebrate. More to come on that later on, but I think it'll be. I think it'd be really special. I think fans are going to like it.
I'm always enthralled and amazed by the behind the scenes on stuff, because even like a jersey change, if you want to add a logo or change something, you can't just do it. Don't you have to like call up the commissioner and talk to Gary and see if this is allowed?
Nick, we could spend an hour talking on what goes into making these jerseys. I mean, honestly, it's a lot of work to really get it right. And but when they're right, they're really right, and it's a really great way for our players and our fans to really celebrate the game and the season upon us.
What's also great to talk about is not just the team history, but the venue history, right? Going from Olympia to Joe Louis and now at LCA.
Yes.
We were talking before the interview started that I think LCA, you mentioned, is one of the busiest, but maybe one of the best venues in the country. And I'm not just saying that because it's here.
Little Caesars Arena, in my humble opinion, is the best venue in the United States to watch hockey. I actually think it's the best venue in the United States to watch basketball and also concerts too, but that's just me, and I'm probably pretty biased. But no, honestly, I mean, we go around, the other 31 teams in the league, and to me, it's just, there's no comparison for our fans, for what happens before the games.
And that was designed intentionally, right? We just didn't happen to throw up some brick and say, oh, this looks cool.
There's so much that goes into that to really get it right. And it's a special place. I mean, we had a big announcement just yesterday. Women's professional basketball is coming back to town.
Do you want to drop on what the name is actually going to be?
I do not, because I don't know. But whatever's going to be, it's going to be great.
We kept saying we'll just keep it the Detroit Shock as long as we have the rights available.
Sure.
All right. The merch on the table, is this available? Can I buy this somewhere?
Come on down to the team store at Little Caesars Arena. We're open today through Wednesday from 11 to 5. We got great stuff. We're going to have more great stuff coming throughout the course of the year. We're going to celebrate different eras of the last 100 years. There'll be something for everybody that comes, that's a fan, that comes to our venue. We'll have something for you.
Do you think I can get Steve to sign this for me?
I think Steve would probably do that for you.
Chris, we've been talking about big events coming up. There's also the Hockeytown Centennial Fan Fest happening in November. And during that weekend, you can look for a special night at the Fox Theater. We're told music and video is going to take you into the soul of Hockeytown. And by the way, you can track all of those events online, DetroitRedWings.com/100. What an amazing...
there might be a few former players that will really be exciting that might be in town that weekend. I don't know. It's very possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Mickey might be one of them.
Definitely Mickey's going to be one of them.
Mickey's everywhere.
Mickey's the best.
You know who's been everywhere lately, too? Is Darren McCarty. I mean, it seems like every grand opening, McCarty's everywhere lately.
He's so fun, too. He's great.
It's always fun to see what color his hair is going to be.
Yes. It's always a surprise, right?
I know, right. Okay, we talked about the trivia. Let's get the answer now. We asked you how many members of the Wings organization have made it into Hockey's Hall of Fame. We're talking about players, coaches, executives. The answer, you all got it. At least some of you got it. 50% of you got it. The answer, 58. That's huge. And I don't know where that stacks in the rest of the NHL, but that's got to be towards the top, right?
It's up there, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Chris, last thoughts on how amazing this is going to be this season.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really fun for everybody. We've done a lot of work to make it special. I think we're going to accomplish our goals.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't wait for the season to get started. Every month there's going to be something to celebrate. And I think it's going to be really fun.
I think the best thing for fans to do is just kind of keep an eye on the website and the calendar, because every day is going to have essentially a promo and a giveaway and something going on.
Yeah, check out the website. So we'll have a lot in social media. We'll keep everybody up to speed to what to expect.
Awesome. All right, Chris, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. When we come back,
Red Wings.
That's right, go Wings. Hey, Hockeytown. A live look now over at the Mackinac Bridge. When we're back, Karen Drew is going to take Chris's seat. She's going to talk about what's happening with the U.S. Supreme Court and that battle over Line 5. We'll be right back.
downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you for watching on Local 4 Plus on clickondetroit.com, YouTube, and everywhere else you can join us. Let's check back in on the Senate right now. Lawmakers still in the middle of that vote-a-rama. That means senators can offer unlimited amendments on the bills, and then they have to vote on every single one of them. This is all centered around President Trump's budget bill. Democrats doing everything they can to delay the vote. The GOP actually has a razor-thin margin of error, only 3 votes to spare. Right now, they might not have the votes needed to pass by the president's self-imposed July 4th deadline. If the bill does pass, it has to head back to the House, where it also faces an uncertain fate. The stock market just opening for this Tuesday. You can look and see where things are now. As we said every morning, it's difficult to judge because right after opening, not a whole lot of activity, but we'll keep an eye on this and see how these stocks go for the next couple of hours. Heading back home right now, a woman accused of shooting a tow truck and trying to repo her car at a tow truck may face a jury after a hearing today. Police say this happened at Shaquanda Tankersley's home on Detroit's east side back on June 12th. When officers got there, they returned fire and hit her. Tankersley was treated and released from a hospital, but she is charged with assault with intent to murder and felony firearm. Today, a judge will decide if there is enough evidence to move the case forward. We could also learn more about the future of radioactive waste from World War II coming in to Van Buren Township. Wayne Disposal is one of the biggest hazardous waste landfills in the country. For months, we have heard from people living nearby trying to keep that radioactive waste out. Last year, an injunction paused the shipment of the waste. There's another hearing scheduled for today at noon. We'll let you know what comes out of that. Let's go up north now. A live look at the Mackinac Bridge, where the fight over what's happening at the bottom of the water heading to the U.S. Supreme Court. We're talking about that Line 5 pipeline that moves oil and natural gas at the bottom of the Straits of Mackinac. The High Court says it will consider arguments in a case between Enbridge and Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. They will decide whether it belongs in a federal court or a state one. Local 4 investigator Karen Drew has done so much reporting on Line 5. You've spent so much time up there. First of all, just to kind of get people back up to speed, what the U.S. Supreme Court is going to be looking at and hearing arguments on is whether or not this case belongs in federal court or if Enbridge kind of overstepped by taking it out or trying to take it out of Michigan courts.
You summed it up very well, because this is very complicated. And I think a lot of people think, oh, this is a decision on whether or not there is a Line 5 or there should be a Line 5. That's not what the question is. Where does the court decide? And so is this a federal case or is this a state case? And this is really interesting, but believe it or not, this goes back to Jimmy Carter in 1977.
Really, that far back?
Yeah, so what happened was, remember, well, I don't know.
I'll try.
I'm not going to say that. Remember from the history books. But, you know, there was the whole, I guess, the drama and the news of the oil shortage and all of that back with Iran and et cetera. So there was this, I guess, treaty put in place, you could say, that was like, okay, no matter what happens with all these countries, we need to make sure that we get our oil. So it was, I think, 1977 or 73, I think it was 77. They had this treaty that said, okay, despite all of this, we're going to have an international agreement, Canada and U.S., and we're going to get this oil going back and forth. We're not going to be victims of all this other drama that's going on in the world. So that's what it is. So that is what Enbridge, a Canadian company, is using, saying, hey, we had this treaty. You know, this was some of the foundation of their fight. It's not their only fight. And there should be this, you know, I guess, free-flowing agreement, literally and figuratively. The state says, okay, that was an old agreement. You know, and honestly, this is Michigan. This is our land. This is our water. This is the Great Lakes. This is the Straits. All of our residents here could be impacted. So this should be a state decision, not a federal decision.
So their concerns are environmental.
Yeah, it comes down to the environment. And you know what, when I went up north and I spent a lot of time talking with folks, and we literally just started driving, and this is part of the map too that I want to show. This kind of explains, I'm trying to look because they pulled some video from some of our pieces of, you know, the pipeline of where it goes under the straits. And we've talked about, we went in and we showed, you know, there are many times there are breaks, there are cracks in the system, and people aren't aware. You don't report on it all the time. So, but the question is, how many cracks could there be? How bad could the crack be? And then the reason why the way the water flows with the straits there, it could really get into the water system very quickly. So yes, that is that environmental question. But when we spent time up north talking to people, and like I said, we'd pull over on the side of the road and we'd just stop at a farm, or we'd just
Everyone's talking about it?
Yeah, and we didn't want to have like preset interviews. We just wanted to show up.
Go up and see who's talking and saying what. Sure.
Sometimes people give you a more real, and I'll tell you, a lot of the people up north said we want it.
Really?
It's jobs. We depend on this. And so there were a lot of people,
It's an economic driver then.
Yeah. So you do have that. And that is, we don't want, the environmentalists coming in here, telling us what to do. But Dana Nessel and her team and Governor Whitmer, have really expressed their concerns. So yes. So the newest thing is, the Supreme Court making the decision where the decision will be made.
Sure.
It really is interesting. I mean, there's a lot there.
Some would say, or maybe believe, that if the Michigan courts get to decide, there could be some bias in it because there's closer ties to the parties, and maybe at the federal level there's not. What are your thoughts on that?
That's exactly correct. I mean, that's what most people are saying. So that's why this fight, I don't want to say it's a decision, but it could be a decision. The fight of where it lands is almost where the decision will be made.
Right.
Of course, you have to let justice prevail and put it all through the court system. But yeah, it depends on that in terms of economy and dollars and international and oil, or is it state, is it Michigan? And mind you, I want to repeat this to folks because when we first did this Line 5 story, I had done, I don't want to say, I didn't dive deep. And then once I did, literally, yeah. But it affects everyone in the state. We all thought like, oh, that's an up north thing. Oh, no, it goes through, and it goes through Wisconsin, and it affects, some land that has been designated, for the federal government that should not be touched, et cetera. So, I mean, it affects a lot of people. It's not an up north story.
Yeah.
It's one that affects all of us. So everyone should care. And that's why we did this documentary. There's an hour Line 5 special on Local 4 Plus. And I just urge everyone to watch it because it is both sides.
Yeah.
You see what is happening, what could happen, what's being done to prevent it. Enbridge says, our system is really strong. We've got what we want to do next with Line 5 is going to be super safe.
So why does Enbridge say they need the line? Why does this have to happen in their opinion?
Well, because they will admit, this is an old line.
Okay,
there
so
are
it's
cracks in the system. Right. And the way it is right now, they have this line and they want to encapsulate it better and put it through,
So replacing old infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
It's a fair
and that's
argument
valid.
because
And
we've heard and seen the infrastructure issues throughout our state that if you don't, tend to become a larger problem.
And some will say, well, how about we don't put it under our waterway? How about we use trucks? How about we transport this oil in a different manner? Some would say that would be safer in case there's a spill.
Right.
It's not. Some would say, I don't want hundreds or thousands of trucks driving on our roadways. So there's a lot of different viewpoints on this, but it's important that we're making a stand and at least there's some progress because, it was state, then it went federal, then it went U.S. Court of Appeals, then, it's been going everywhere. Yeah. So at least I feel like we're closer to making a decision.
What's interesting is that the conversation we're having now is not the conversation that'll be in the courts, though. This is all about venue.
It's all about venue.
Nothing to do with the line itself.
Right, it is, yeah. But it's important for folks to know and not, like I said, don't assume it's an up north thing, and really don't assume it's just a quote environmental story. It's environmental. It's our economy. And it is. I think it's interesting. If I was talking to a professor, how much does your state have a right to protect its residents and land, or and that gets into government and that gets into politics too.
All right, producer, they're telling me it's time to go.
I'm going to sit here and talk about Line 5
I could talk about this for hours. Karen, thank you so much. As Karen has just said multiple times, you really should go watch that special on Line 5 under the specials tab, streaming on Local 4 Plus. Do it sometime today. Still ahead, the WNBA officially coming to Detroit. We're going to break down what all that means for us when we come back here as you're looking live over downtown Detroit. All right, it was big breaking news all day yesterday as you're looking live at Little Caesars Arena right now. The news that LCA hosting yet another team as the WNBA comes back to Detroit. Women's basketball soaring in popularity. Again, it was breaking news yesterday all morning long here on Local 4 Live. The WNBA says that the league is expanding into 3 different cities. Detroit's new team will debut in 2029. Cleveland gets their team a year earlier in 2028. Philly gets to join the league in 2030. Of course, all of this brings back memories of the Detroit Shock, Detroit's first WNBA team. The Shock won 3 championships before the team moved out of Detroit. Back in January, a team of investors, including Detroit Pistons owner Tom Gores, Jared Goff, Grant Hill, Chris Webber, they submitted a formal bid to bring the WNBA back to Detroit. So, from the Tigers, Lions, Pistons, Red Wings, now the WNBA, Detroit is one of the top sports towns in the country. To talk about the impact of another sports franchise coming to Detroit, we're joined by Claude Molinari, who is the president of not only Visit Detroit, but an umbrella underneath that is the Detroit Sports Commission. Claude, good morning to you. If you could take me behind the scenes just for a moment, because I know things like this don't happen overnight, and I know your team is heavily involved in conversations like this. How long behind the scenes has this been happening to bring the WNBA back to Detroit?
You know, Nick, thanks for having me on. This is probably a 1.5-year project. We were part of the RFP process. We helped the great Arn Tellem and Rich Haddad, who were the point people on bringing the WNBA back to Detroit, you know, on behalf of the Pistons owner Tom Gore. And I think that we really put together a compelling message and package for this, and it's super competitive. I mean, some of these teams are being valued at an incredibly high rate, and the expansion fees are significant because there's an incredible amount of upside, and certainly women's sports in general and women's basketball in particular are really capturing the imagination. And again, as you mentioned, Detroit already, maybe the premier sports town in the world. Now, this is a coup de grace. It finishes us off.
Right. So when you submit that, you know, that bid, that RFP to the WNBA, you have to lay out very specifics on the economics, on the business of this. And I can't imagine it's a very difficult sell given all the popularity and the success of teams here. But when you look at the numbers, it does make business sense for the WNBA to be back in Detroit, doesn't it?
It very much does. And, you know, it was not a business decision per se that the Shock left. Like, you know, a lot of times there's a perception when a team leaves that it was a failure. The fact of the matter is they were wildly successful, but there was an ownership decision to leave the city to go to a different location that really had nothing to do with the financial success of the team. Certain times, you know, like Atlanta's lost 2 hockey teams because they just didn't do well. That wasn't the case here. So really, it's almost like correcting a wrong. Like the WNBA should never have left Detroit, and they're very pleased to come back. And we felt we had a compelling argument right from the start. And again, I think that, you know, as it is, you know, the Little Caesars Arena is already one of the top 5 most used facilities during the summer. Now to have the WNBA plus all the concerts plus everything else that goes on there is really, I mean, we're unparalleled in this country with regard to when you put together the sports and the theater and all the live music. We're really at the top.
You're almost always one of my first phone calls when we start talking about the economic impact that live events and sporting events have on the city of Detroit. And I'm sure in that big packet, you know, that you had to submit to the league, there was probably a section about the impact and the trickle-down effect that this will have on our businesses, on our local businesses, small businesses. What are some of the numbers in terms of what you think the impact can be?
I would say that every game is probably going to be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 to $10 million in economic impact. Because again, you know, like even just thinking about like the part-time staff that makes a living wage working at Little Caesars Arena, and so that's another at a minimum 12 to 15 dates that everybody works. But that also means then pregame at all the restaurants, you know, at the attractions, at the you know, and then retail gets. So there's no negative to having these great events. And the more games we have, the more sports, the more we draw people from around the country, the greater the impact for us. You know, that an event, a season of the WNBA is approaching, like 9 figures in economic impact for the region. You're talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars, and again, that also brings some new people that are going to live in Detroit. That they're going to be, we're talking about new professional athletes that are going to come here and stay at our, and perhaps they're going to raise families here and decide this is a great place to live. And so, again, more positivity.
Speaking of a great place to live, I know you have lots of conversations with people all over the country. That's your job, is to sell Detroit. Is there a jealousy factor now that Detroit has every single professional sport, including the WNBA? And I'm hearing rumors that there could be another team coming as well.
Yes. I can't confirm another team, but we are working.
Look at the smile on his face.
but I will say this, that I feel so incredibly blessed to have the job I have at this point of time. Like, this city is, and this destination, this region, Southeast Michigan, and frankly, this state is ready to take off. My counterparts in other cities are just dripping with jealousy. They can't stand it. We were a sleeping giant. We have one of the largest convention centers in the world, and we are adding hotels all around it. We're talking to private developers right now about adding more hotels. We're going to bring, Bedrock is bringing in that new cyber venue that's going to host more events. One of few in the country. I apologize, the Arbor, but we've got so many things happening, and it's only going to get better. And then it's going to rise like a rising tide rises all boats. Nick, we are going to continue to rise. I am so optimistic and excited about our future.
And it's a domino effect, because you add more, then you add more money into the city, then more investment comes and more hotels, and now you can attract even more events. I mean, it's all tied together. My producer is giving me a wrap, but I do have to ask you one question quickly. Will they be the Detroit Shock, or do we have to use a new name, or do we know yet?
That's not something I don't know, so we're going to find out.
Hopefully the rights are still available. All right, Claude, thank you so much for your time. And you're right, what a great time to be in Detroit. I am so excited for everything. I know I'll be talking to you much more in the weeks and months to come.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, take care. Still ahead, Ashley is going to come back in the Nook with a check of your ice cream forecast. All ice cream all the time as you look live outside right now. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Ashley sprinting into the Nook for another ice cream forecast, which is probably the best way to introduce a forecast. If you can say it's an ice cream forecast,
well, that's why I'm sprinting. You said that, and I go, oh, I got to put the melting meter on there for the ice cream.
There's a melting meter?
Yeah, I made one last week, and so now I was just, adjusting a little bit.
You're so fun with your graphics.
It's
incredible. Oh, do you have 4th of July nails on too now?
Oh, I do. Little sparkly 4th of July nails. Yeah. Try to be festive, whether it's seasonal or patriotic and holiday. But yeah, some melting with the melting meter today. There's your ice cream, Nick. So we will be in the mid 80s. So of course there will be some melting, but otherwise, as far as like the puddle or eating it too quickly, I think, we've kind of turned that corner from last week, but we'll be in that territory come this weekend. Quick look at the airport delays. We've seen improvement in Dallas where there was just a minor, moderate delay, but now everything's green. So if you are catching a flight out of town, just note that overall the airports look good, but still check on your specific flight. But we have sunshine over Metro Airport right now where we sit in the mid to upper 70s all across the area. So really a beautiful start to your Tuesday. Temperatures, once again, here's more of a widespread map where you see it's a fairly seasonal start, and that's where we're going to top out this afternoon in that average category. So mid-80s paired with plenty of sunshine. UV index is high. I keep talking about this just because we have to be reminded, even if we're not kind of sweltering in that heat, the sun is still going to be potent, those UV rays. So 15 to 25 minute burn time for today if you don't properly protect your skin. Tonight, mostly clear and less humid, 64. Open up the windows. So get outside today, open up the windows tonight. Just a great forecast ahead. Now tomorrow could get a little turbulent up into the thumb as we have a marginal risk for severe weather where wind and hail would be the primary threats. But as we look at model data, peeling back that cloud cover today and staying pretty clear over the next 24 hours, even well into your Wednesday. And you might get a popcorn shower or two tomorrow that could lead to some stronger storms, but overall nothing widespread. So still going to call for a few clouds here, but 86 tomorrow, 87 Thursday. That is a stretch of pool days, if I must say so myself. 4th of July, it'll be a little toasty, but sunshine, dry conditions for those parades and firework displays. And how does that stack up? Well, our record's 102, so we're nowhere near that, but we will be above average as our average high is 82 degrees. And so we warm up into the 90s for the tail end of the holiday weekend. Chances for some storms late Saturday, late Sunday, but it's going to be hot and humid, and we'll have a better chance of those storms rolling into Monday next week.
That's the parades and pools forecast.
There you go. I like it.
Ashley, thank you so much. When we come back here on Local 4 Live, Live in the D starts in just about an hour and 5 minutes. Kim DeGiulio stopping into the Nook to talk about what's coming up on their show. We're always so busy here at Local 4. In an hour and 4 minutes, Local 4 is going to be kicking off some show called Live in the D. We love Live in the D, and we love Kim DeGiulio.
Some show.
The show.
Exactly.
The show.
The show. We've got a great show lined up. As always, we're talking back to school.
Okay. Already?
I know, right?
Why? Can we wait at least another week or so?
We're not encouraging back to school thought process, but some of the stores are already putting the back to school stuff out. I mean, I want to know what you guys think about this. That is our couch club.
Are there deals out there this early, or is it?
The stuff is out. I don't know if it's deals, but it's stuff.
All right.
Also, Kim, coming to the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Had one show. Now so many people wanted to go.
Yeah.
The second show was just added.
An encore show.
And we're interviewing him
That's
on
awesome.
Live in the D.
Really?
Yes.
That's so cool. That is so cool. That could be your entire show right there.
I know. We don't have to talk about back to school shopping.
Please don't.
Forget about that.
I don't want to.
It's all Kim.
My
And
gosh.
a lot more, of course. Obviously, we're going to be having some fun.
I know. Any food today?
I don't think we're having food today because we had ice cream yesterday, so we got a
How was the ice cream yesterday?
I was waiting for you. I was like, "Where's Nick?"
I had to go do some work.
It was really good. I had
really
a
mad.
basil ice cream.
Really?
I know what you're thinking. That doesn't sound
That
good.
sounds awful.
It was delicious. It was delicious.
Really?
Yes.
Was it one of those weird like pregnancy tastes? Like, okay, that's not good.
No, I've tried this ice cream not pregnant. It was probably better pregnant, but yeah, it was really good.
Okay.
So.
Ashley says that we have an ice cream forecast, like the next couple of days, just eat all the ice cream you want.
Oh, because that means
and you won't gain any weight at all.
And that means it's not too hot, because I hate when it's too hot and it's melting.
All over yourself. You gotta like wrap your cone in napkins.
Exactly.
All right. The show, live at the D, in an hour and 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Right
I got to get going.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
You look great already. Thank you so much for joining us here on Local 4 Live. More news and weather ahead on Local 4 Plus, and always on clickondetroit.com. Make it a great day, everybody.
Go Blue.
I figured you would chime in.